speak varies depending on where we're from, our gender, our age and our background. Any language varies from region to region, social class to social class, situation to situation and person to person. We notice this variation by using different sounds, which is something you'll notice in a lot of people's accents. For example, you might notice that a lot of people say bath, whereas some people will say bath. Which one you use will depend on where you're from. We also use different words that may not be recognised from speakers from different areas. An example you might notice is that Geordies, for example people from Newcastle, will say things like yeah right, but you might notice people from London don't say this. The way we speak can be a huge part of our identity. It shows people where we were born, where we are from and what our background is like. And communities tend to split up into these types of groups, each displaying differences in both our behaviour and the way that we speak. Although we use our language to communicate, we also use it to express ourselves, our identities and our personalities, and no two are the same.
A few reasons for why most languages vary depends on our age, our gender, our sex, the social class we align ourselves to, as well as the situation that we are in. There are many other reasons as well, but these are the ones we'll be talking about today. Our language can vary as an individual. No individual person will speak the same way all of the time. In linguistics, this is what we call intra-speaker variation. You probably notice that you speak differently depending on where you are and what you are doing. I doubt you or I will speak the same in an interview as we do when we're out with our friends. For example, in an interview, you might sound more formal, use less slang words, and also pronunciate your words properly. Whereas when you're out with your friends, you might swear, you might use more slang words, and also you might sound more informal overall. We all do this, whether we notice it or not, and this is another way language can vary from an individual perspective. As well as this, no two speakers of a language speak exactly the same way, and this is what we call intergroup variation. You also probably sound similar to your friends and family, and I probably sound very different to you. And this is the key component of why we study language variation. James will follow on with more examples.
Men may speak differently to women. People from a working class background may speak differently to people from an upper class background, and I may speak differently to you. This is what we call factors for why we speak different, or why our language varies. An example of how language changes between sex is that women tend to be less direct in their questioning, such as saying, "It's cold in here," rather than just saying, "Could you close the window?" In this way, a man might be more direct and straight to the point. Although this is not true for everyone, this is something that has been found in research. Secondly, we notice that those who identify with a higher social class tend to use more standard English speech, which you may have heard being referred to as Queen's English. Given this fact, those that are from working class backgrounds are more likely to use terms such as walk in, while upper class people would more likely to say walking. One example you may notice of how I might speak different to you is younger people's use of the word like, which is more often than older adults' use of this word. This type of word is what we call a filler. For example, he was like walking down the street and he was like higher. It has been found that this is more common in the age groups 15 to 23, but less common in those 40 plus. To wrap things up, language variation basically means that everybody's language is different depending on their social background, such as sex, age and class, as well as the situation they're in. There are things that we may say that you might not, and these are the types of things we study in variationist research.